constant search of key questions that'll open up conversation in a way that centers values and the dignity of all people and invites real, honest, reflective conversation. And I'm excited to share 4 questions that come from Lindsey Cormack, who is a political science professor and author of a book that is now on shelves. And just listened to her talking in a podcast episode, which I will link in the description, sharing these 4 questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share them with you. And just want to say, this is for, once again, as part of this mini series, families as well as educators. So educators, if you are designing a discussion in your class, awesome. We talk about that stuff a lot. This is totally relevant for you. But also families, if you are trying to engage in conversation across difference at an intergenerational family dinner table, or whatever the case is, feel free to use these questions and experiment with these questions in terms of opening up honest conversation with your kid. From Dr. Lindsey Cormack, and she is the author of How to Raise a Citizen. Here are the questions. What have you heard about insert topic here? And I love how she talks about this. You can listen to the podcast episode, how she really names, this opens it up so that no one is, there's actually a reduced sense of fear around I'm going to get this wrong. It's just, what have you heard? It's not your own opinion that you're sharing at this point, right? It's just, what have you heard? So what might you know, right? We're activating prior knowledge here, which we know is a good thing to do as educators, and family members will let you in on that. It is a good thing to connect to what students are already aware of, and just bring into the space, I heard this, let's dig into it. What do you think about that? I would even add here, what do you feel about that? What does that bring up for you in terms of emotion? Where do you feel it in your body? But what do you think about that? So you're starting to process it. What do you know about that? So again, we're really in the head here, and specifically thinking now about evidence-based sources. So what do you think about that is different from what do you know about that? Because we're trying to kind of fact check and fact gather and figure out oh, I think this, maybe this is my opinion on something, but what is the actual information that I know to be true, and how do I know that, right? Which is usually there's a gap there, right? And so she says, try to see that gap. And then 4th, right, we want students to be inquiry focused. We want them to kind of go on a journey if they're following their curiosity and learning more, and we could do that together as a family. But what more would you need to know to refine your thoughts on this? So encouraging and kind of normalizing that we all don't know everything, right? Adults and kids. And so we're going to learn together, and we constantly need to be learning more and refining our thoughts. And it's okay to refine our thoughts. And it's actually a good thing to refine our thoughts. So what more do we need to know? What questions do you have? You can kind of elicit those questions for students here. To the freebie, including the slide, but a discussion supports freebie that I typically give to educators, but families, take what you like. I think different activities that prompt discussion, whether it's around a dinner table, whether it's just casually, there's some verbal kind of prompts you can ask kids, but there's also kind of some structures for a larger conversation. If you're in a larger kind of family reunion or something, you're orchestrating something, feel free to use what's relevant for you. So that's linked in the description, as well as that podcast episode with Lindsey Cormack.